Time is being 7 o'clock, and I will call this meeting to order in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, which is posted on the east wall of this meeting room. Tonight's agenda was posted in 3 public locations: the Eagle Municipal Building, Eagle Fire and Rescue, and Eagle Municipal Park. The village board will now stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, and those in attendance that would like to join us, please participate. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As a reminder to the public, if you wish to speak on an agenda item tonight, you must first raise your hand and be recognized by the chair. Upon being recognized, please state your name and address. On all agenda items except for open forum, each member of the public wishing to speak on a topic will be allowed to speak one time each for a period of up to 3 minutes. Speakers should direct comments to the board, not the audience, and speakers shall not disrupt the proceedings of the public body nor speak out of turn. That takes us to agenda item number 1. We're going to have a public hearing for the purpose of considering the approval of a Class 1 liquor license for Taco Rapido LLC, doing business as Taco, located at 310 Highway 34. The public hearing has been opened at 7:02. Are there any comments from the public or the village board? Go ahead.
I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Gordon Brash. I'm Taco Rapido. I bought the building, Bill Casey, about 2.5 years ago. And I built some homes along the 8th district up there, primarily a home builder. But saw that building, I thought it was a good building for something, and I haven't been able to find a tenant. But I do believe that it's a great place for a restaurant. I'm hearing the needs in the area. I think that's one thing that this area might be able to support. And so, being a partner, we have a lot of experience in the fast casual business. Are going to open kind of a Nova Chipotle kind of knockoff. So you go in there and order a burrito, a taco, a salad bowl, something like that, go through the line, and that's pretty much what it is. We would like to have a liquor license, just, another revenue source. Since I even started this, cost of food and everything is going up, so to be successful, we feel like we need more revenue sources. Yeah. That's all I should say. I don't want to open a bar. I don't want to own a bar. But, there are people that want to come in and have beer with their buyers. I think we will anyway. And so we'd like to offer, it's not a full bar. We'll have a merchandiser located behind that door sale, and that'll make beer. And then we'd also like to get into a margarita machine and do that on day. It may be good to be able to mix up a margarita. And that would also be out of reach of the customer, right? So that's the concept. And we've got a building permit now. It's been approved. We are starting to do some training on the inside. We would hope to, maybe do it for like a soft opening. If anybody has any questions along the way, I'm happy to write.
Does anybody have any questions?
What took you so long?
I had some projects.
I have a question though, and it probably goes to Marine more than anything. This is asking for a liquor license for business does not exist yet, does not have an occupancy permit yet. How far in advance of all that can we actually approve one, or does it have to be contingent upon all that?
Well, he will not be able to open with the Liquor Control Commission will not allow him to open if they don't have occupancy. So he has to meet occupancy at that time later. Typically, when these are processed, he's, I assume, turned in an application for a liquor license already to the Liquor Control Commission. Then it has to come to this board for approval. This is one of the primary things he has to get. There's going to be inspections, et cetera, which he won't be able to get until he's almost ready to open anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can kind of address that too. This is the first time I've ever gotten a liquor license. This is what they call a Class I liquor license. So this is only for on sale. If you want to be able to buy beer and leave. You will be able to buy like a margarita and leave because that's part of the license now after COVID. They allow you to take things out with that particular license. So whether you get that demand or not, I don't know. As far as the process goes, it is kind of a lengthy process. Usually it takes at least 3 months. First thing we do is apply to the liquor commission, get your fingerprints, your background check, so on and so forth. Then I have been contacted by state patrol. They have a guy who does nothing but liquor enforcement, and they do a big interview, trying to think of everything that's been going on with that. The fire marshal for this area, him and so he's part of the state fire marshal, and we got the state Department of Agriculture, that's part of the health department. Both of those two people have to sign off on it before I can sell alcohol, but not only sell alcohol, but I can open it. I need that occupancy permit, but I think the state gives the local area quite a bit of deference to whether or not they want to allow it. And so, you know, if we were to approve this, then everything else still has to fall on. Right? Like, I can't have any customers until, you know, I have all those inspections. But the issue is that there may still be a week or 2 or 3 that I would open and I can't sell liquor because everything has to be completely done before you get the occupancy permit. And then they have to come back to the liquor commission, so then a few weeks go up. And so we just thought we could try to get a jump start on it.
Thank you. Anybody else have any comments? Questions? All right. Public hearing is closed at 7:08 p.m.
Yep.
Okay, that takes us to item number 1, approve a class, what is it, I?
It's I.
Class
Class
I
I.
liquor license for Taco Rapido at 310 Highway 34. Is there any discussion? I would like to make a motion that we approve the liquor license for Class I liquor license for Taco Rapido at 310 Highway 34.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Nick?
Voting on the motion to approve a Class I liquor license for Taco Rapido at 310 Highway 34. Voting, James,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Marcus,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
That takes us to item number 2, report from law enforcement.
Not tonight.
All right, that takes us to item number 3, report from building and zoning administrator. Rick? good. Thank you. That takes us to item number 4, open forum. Open forum is for discussion regarding items not found on the agenda and that do not require the spending of taxpayer dollars. Is there anybody present that would like to speak during open forum? Okay. That takes us to item number 5, approve Jed Witka as a member of the Eagle Fire and Rescue.
Jeff's not here, but I can speak on his behalf.
Sure, go ahead.
Aaron Boakley, Fire Lieutenant for Eagle Fire Rescue. So, Jeb, some of you might know him, he's been on Weekend Water, or not Weekend Water, but Cass County Emergency Management. He serves as a paramedic there for a very long time. Moved into the town of Eagle, went and got his Firefighter 1 certification, and now he works full-time on fire department. So after getting those credentials and things have kind of settled down for him, he'd like to volunteer in this community. I believe he would be a huge asset for the community. He's seen and done everything. So he's happy to answer any questions, but pretty straightforward.
Thank you. All right, does anybody have any questions or comments? All right, I would like to make a motion that we approve Jeb Wicca as a member of the Eagle Fire and Rescue Department.
Second.
Any further discussion? Nick?
Yeah, voting on the motion to approve Jeb Wicca, is that how you say it? Wicca?
Wicca?
As a member of the Eagle Fire and Rescue Department. Voting John,
Yes.
Marcus.
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Jerry.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, that takes us to item number 6, approve Lisa Beckstead attending the 2025 Nebraska Statewide EMS Conference in Kearney at a cost not to exceed $775.
This
So
was,
this is a 3-day conference to get all of the add-ons for our EMS licensure. We do have in-house training, but we're looking to branch out and try to start sending more people to conferences. This is the second conference of the year. There's one in March and one in November, and we're looking to send people to all 3. It's just to get more information to bring back to our department so that we can build on our knowledge. For this conference, it is 3 days in Kearney, so we are looking to get a hotel room for 2 of the nights. That will definitely be under $700. Yeah. That's just in case something happens with like hotels or anything out there.
All right, thank you, Mackenzie. Can I get a motion to approve?
How are you picking who goes to which conference?
Availability is the
Okay.
biggest thing. Yeah. Some are just busier for some than others.
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any further discussion, questions? Nick?
voting on the motion to approve Lisa Beckstead attending the 2025 Nebraska Statewide EMS Conference in Kearney at a cost not to exceed $775. Voting Marcus,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Motion carried.
That takes us to item number 7, updates on the potential for a new fire and rescue station and converting the existing station into a community center. Luke?
Well, Maureen, we'll let Maureen take it, and then I can take questions.
I visited with Ryan McIntosh, who's been engaged by the Eagle Fire Rural, or Elbow Eagle Rural Fire District. He's the attorney, he's out of Syracuse. And last week sometime, and in the meantime, we had received an email from Emeritus, who is the bond company that the rural had been talking to. They had reached out to their bond counsel at Kutak Rock in Omaha, a law firm, and he had made some very vague recommendations on what we could do for funding it between Eagle and the rural. We had a telephone conference with him, Ryan and I did today, this afternoon, and we kind of drilled down on what we might look at for the project overall, or the project as to the fire department versus having a separate project to renovate the old fire department. And so we kind of kicked around that, I think at this, and also Nick Nystrom and I, and the chair, Terry, had a telephone conference a couple weeks ago with USDA to talk to them about our current loan on the Buell building when we bought it, because we have a mortgage against all of the property that sits there, including the site for where we are going to build the new fire department. And I was concerned about what we needed to do to get that mortgage off. And they talked kind of through that with us and what we will need to do that. We talked to them a little bit about what loan rates might be if we were looking at getting another USDA loan, maybe on this building. And so we've kind of explored that as well. After Ryan and I talked this afternoon, we decided it would be a good idea to have each of our boards nominate 2 people, so we don't have a quorum from either board. And perhaps Ryan and I, the attorneys, be present, and Nick Nystrom be present at a meeting, and have a committee meeting to kind of work out what are we really looking at trying to accomplish, and then come back to the boards to make decisions. So that's what I'd recommend tonight, is that if you could get 2 board members that are willing to serve on that board, to maybe select them tonight. And it's basically a working committee. And then we come up with, we'll have Luke go back to the rural and figure out 2 people from their organization, and let's set up a meeting here in the next week or 2.
I have a rural board meeting tomorrow night, so this will all fit in to what we got going.
We really don't want to be hiring anybody till we have an agreement in place. So we're willing to move forward on it right now. I think Ryan and I can make our time available to do that as well. We've talked about that.
So, yeah, because we're getting to the point, it's a pinch point of we either got to figure out design, and that's where I'm at. So there's some prints floating around here, whatever. I sent you 2 bids. I think the one was $168,000 or whatever, and the other one was $88,000 or whatever. So the way that would be proposed would be split.
And part of the concern I have is we don't want to leap if we have, depending on how the Village of Eagle funds this, we may have to go out to public bid on it with public bid programming. So we want to make sure that we're not jumping the gun. Normally on architects, it's a service and we don't have to go to bid, but we want to make perfectly sure that we don't have to.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of where we're at. I guess my request to the board is to select 2 people, and then Nick can work with Luke in trying to get a time together so we can all meet.
And we do have an emergency services committee on the board. If you want to use those 2 people, or if you want to switch that up, it'd be you and James.
I think from my personal perspective, I don't think that's wise,
Sure.
as you.
Yeah, that's all right. So if somebody wants to, fill his spot on that committee,
I'd take his spot.
2 terms, it's up to you guys.
You okay with me and Dan?
Okay.
I would love to do it, but I can't have a meeting till the 14th, the week of the 14th. Next week.
Well, that might be what we're left to.
Yeah, by the time we get everything organized,
Yeah.
I won't
it
be
might
back
be.
until the 14th.
Okay.
So we're
So that's 2 weeks from now,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
and treatment,
So you want to do
trying to do.
Terry and Dan on there? Is that what we're hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's it.
Does anybody else have any questions? Anything? Public? Nothing? Okay.
Thank you. That takes us to item number 8. Consider proposals for tennis courts unlimited and sportscape construction to paint pickleball lines on the Eagle Municipal Park.
Thank you guys for putting this on the agenda tonight. I'm Ronnie Cash, a resident of Eagle, 625 Douglas Circle. Just want to kind of give some of you the background that we have kind of worked through so far in the last year. We came to the budget meeting last year. My understanding was we did a $25,000 for pool and tennis court renovations. So as a pickleball group, we went out looking for a grant to help match or fund or support the budget. Unfortunately, we were unable to get the $25,000 and was only able to get $5,000 grant. So at that point in time, the pickleball team has kind of chosen to give that grant back and come up with some other options to help support the pickleball team. After giving up that grant, we had Dan and Marcus both approach us in regards to other options. One of those options was to do just striping on the tennis courts. So what we have done is we have got a couple bids that we would like for you guys to consider. One of them is $1,000 for the tennis courts unlimited, and the other one is roughly $6,000 from Sportscape Construction.
Go ahead and explain the difference.
Well, really, the difference is the Sportscape Construction, it was tied in with all of the resurfacing and everything like that. After, this was just basically painting lines for 3 courts on the existing basketball court and the south tennis court. So they were painting them in 2 different locations, where the tennis courts unlimited was primarily focused on 2 courts on the basketball. We would prefer to keep that in the tennis court if we could, primarily because that basketball court gets used all the time. And we just kind of like to focus that in on the tennis courts. So really the difference is the higher one was from the Sportscapes Construction, and they were doing it on the basketball courts as well as the tennis courts. So they were giving us 5 courts, where the tennis courts unlimited only had 2.
The only thing I would say is, if we're gonna try to put some money aside to do something bigger next year, I'd hate to waste $1,000. But that's my opinion.
What's the turnaround that they've given you? If we're to approve, do you have any of that?
So we really were focusing more on the tennis courts unlimited, the least expensive of the 2. And the gentleman with them indicated that they could start this week. Next week, I apologize. I understand your concern as far as wanting to do all the improvements and everything on the tennis court. It definitely needs some improvement, but I remember being here, and I think his name was Harold, had kind of indicated that he didn't feel that it needed to be completely renovated. And so we were asking if we could spend $1,000. Let us, continue to play here, continue to grow funds in the community. I know the last time that we talked, monetarily, how would that continue to improve the village? And I know we've been going over to Elmwood every week, and we play, we eat dinner, we have drinks, and I would say that we probably spend $100, which doesn't sound a lot, but I'll tell you, for a business that small, $100 is a lot.
And when you play here, do you eat here?
We have been, yes.
Man,
We've only played a few times this year, and they have gone up to Bailey's.
To your point about the longevity of the tennis court and eventually wanting to, obviously it needs a lot of help, but speaking with that Sportscape company, the bids that we received from them, which they were obviously pricier than the tennis courts unlimited, but even to do Band-Aid repairs, it was approximately $50,000, and to do the entire thing was like $100,000. So I guess for me,
I think this is the path of least resistance and least cost to get the pickleball group what they want now. Because when are we realistically going to pour that amount of money and have that budget to?
I personally don't think it would cost that amount of money, but.
I'm saying that they're pricey, that was a pricey bid, but
Yeah,
that's the
I
only
get
one
that.
that I have to reference. But when would we be thinking of overhauling the tennis court now? When would that be planned?
I don't know yet.
So it could be something next year or even 2 or 3 years down the line with the expenses that it is. I think $1,000 is pretty minimal when you're looking at the big picture. So we're just asking if they're really, keep that in consideration, to spend $1,000.
Well, personally, I think it's a good idea. You have a lot of people that go ahead and do participate in this.
Yeah.
$1,000 is minimal compared to what they spent on the frisbee golf and the number of people I see out playing on it.
Yeah.
You far exceed that, excess their numbers, so.
We typically have very close to 20 people that come every week.
Yeah, the thing from Tennis Courts Unlimited, it said, the letter that we have here anyhow, it says a total investment of a different number. It says $13,500. Now, is that the 7 items that's listed above in the renovation?
Yeah, so that renovation procedures also includes like cleaning, preparing, and paint coating and all of this of the tennis courts. This would be eliminated. So down below, under the accepted, option 1 is just pickleball lines. This says a basketball court. And if we can just do that on the tennis court for $500 per line. So we do one on the north side and one on the south side.
Okay. Terry, when you're talking like, what other sorts of upgrades are gonna be done to the tennis courts? Those 7 items on there, is that what you're thinking that would possibly need to be done to the tennis courts?
I don't know, that bid was a little ridiculous.
Do what?
That bid was a little ridiculous, I would have to do
The
some.
13,500?
No, the whole entire.
100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of, yeah. But the Tennis Courts Unlimited 7-item one here,
Yeah, but somebody has recommended that we redo more than just that.
Yeah, that would fix the actual problem.
okay,
So
that's what I was thinking, okay.
I would also like to point out that we make a big point of taking stock in our community survey, and pickleball was at the bottom of the list.
But it was on the
Say
list.
something too in the blue shirt.
But it was at the bottom.
It was on the list.
But it was on the list, yeah.
Gentleman in the blue shirt wanted to say something.
Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead.
My name is Brian Pillard. I live in Lincoln, Nebraska, 4720 Red Hawk Court. I'm here to support the painting of lines for pickleball for several reasons. One is I can see it being shared with tennis. It's not really a pickleball or tennis. And I think with pickleball lines on the tennis court, it looks good. I think it looks better than what sidewalk chalk might look like graffiti or something. So the lines would have a better aesthetic than what we do each week. And I'm not here to say someone from Lincoln needs pickleball lines in Eagle. I can play pickleball in Lincoln in tons of parks. I'm suggesting it's valuable for Eagle to have pickleball courts because of the people that I've met and I've been playing with the Eagle pickleball group. It's a very valuable, good group of people to provide a place to play pickleball with. I haven't seen the bids at all. I would just refer to the people who make the decision to accept the lowest responsible bid. And whether or not it should be spent now with the possibility of tennis courts being redone at some point, I don't know. I'm under the impression that tennis courts aren't used a lot. And I also would have thought if there was a demand for renovating tennis courts, you as a group would have done that by now. And as I understand it, it really hasn't gone anywhere for renovating the tennis court. So I would like to come here to play with the Eagle Pickleball Group, and as soon as possible, it's Taco Tuesday at Taco Rapido somewhere.
Just like that.
Well, since my name came up, Gordon Brash again. I don't have a, what do they call it, a dog in the fight here, but I can say that we are going to be paying sales tax, and hopefully we'll bring in a lot of revenue for your community. I have no idea exactly what it is you guys have commitments to pay for, but you know, I would hope that we would bring in at least $1,000 a year to pay for pickleball. But just throwing that out there.
If we were to approve this, in a kind of agreeance, then would you accept that if we did do it this way, to not ask for anything else on the courts this year or next year in exchange? Just kind of going off Terry's point, we don't want to put money into it and then have it ripped up right away. So, I mean, under your opinion, the courts are in good enough condition right currently that it's worth putting the paint on, and they'll get us through at least next year, is what I'm asking, correct? That you're that's under your impression that they'll get us through at least next year?
I would say yes, but I'm not the professional at it,
Yep.
I'm gonna be honest with you. You know, we have reached out to both of these guys, and granted, they suggested doing the entire renovations, but I don't feel that either one of them would have put an additional option of just striping if they had concerns of it not lasting.
Yep.
Tricia Morris, 355 Wenzel Circle. I think that it should be done. I don't play pickleball, but seeing people in the community be able to use it would be a wonderful thing.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Dick Robshack. I live at 210 South 2nd Street in Elmwood. So again, I'm not a resident. But I would point out, over the last 10 years, pickleball is the fastest growing sport in the United States of America right now. Brian mentioned that it's you can get on, there are a lot of pickleball courts, but you have to be creative and you have to be flexible. If you do this line project, you will see people on it that aren't just this local pickleball club use that. You're going to see people that see their park here. When we travel, we take our pickleball paddles with us wherever we go. And if we see a court, we like to go play. So you will know that those people will stay and they'll spend money in your town. It's a great family sport. I know you did, it sounds like you did a community survey, and while those are valuable, I encourage you to look at the larger geographical area and think of the people that you'll probably draw in, that you'll see use that more than just this local club. Thank you.
Anyone else?
In my opinion, $1,000 is kind of minimal. It's going to encourage people to come to our town. I don't think that $1,000 is that big a deal. I mean, it's going to be, you know, realistically probably $60,000 to $70,000 to fix that, and we're looking probably at least 2 years out with just a budget if we were to even do that. So to, you know, appease this and make it usable, I don't think $1,000 is that big a deal. That's my opinion.
My opinion is the same, and I will add to that, hey, your repairs on that tennis court were made known at least three years ago.
Yep.
They haven't been done yet. So I don't foresee that being something as eminent that someone's going to put out there and say, hey, we're going to do it next year. So I don't personally think it's a waste of money.
I'll motion to approve, not to exceed $1,000 to put stripes on the volley, or the tennis ball courts, not the basketball, but the tennis courts.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Nick?
Voting on that motion to approve the proposal from Tennis Courts Unlimited in the amount of $1,000 to paint pickleball lines on the tennis court at the Eagle Municipal Park. Voting on that, Dan?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Marcus?
Yes.
Terry?
No.
Motion carried.
Thank you for your consideration.
That takes us to item number 9, consider proposals from M1 Diggers to excavate and analyze the condition of the yard hydrant adjacent to 6th and F Street.
Well, we'd reached, we've asked a couple of our typical usual excavators to shoot us a proposal, and this never did get anything back, so I had asked Marcus at the last meeting if he'd be interested in putting in a bid, and this is what he kind of came up with. Kind of do some exploration work, I guess. You'd do that for $250, and then
Yeah.
Because you still don't know what's there, right?
Yeah, it's basically just digging down and finding out what, if it's functional, if it's hooked up to anything, whatever. And then number two, I'd kind of shy away from right now, personally, because this bid would just be for labor, not including material either. Mainly because I figured the village could get it cheaper than I could, tax-free. But yeah.
the
if
Parks and
hydrant's
Parks and
there-
Rec people are tired of toting the hose around and the hose getting vandalized.
Yes, sir.
Somebody put the end off, but make it smaller.
Mhm.
I think it was the adults.
Yeah, it was.
So if we can get closer, great, but we don't really know. It's down there yet.
Further discussion, questions?
I'd make a motion to allow M&I diggers to dig that up for $250 and see what we got.
Second.
Any further discussion? Nick?
Voting on the motion second to approve item 1 on MI Digger's proposal here to excavate and analyze the condition of the yard hydrant adjacent to 6th and F Street. Voting James,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Marcus,
Abstain.
John,
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, that takes us to item number 10, approve or deny minutes as typed for the previous meeting.
To make a motion to approve minutes as typed.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Nick?
Voting on the motion second to approve minutes as typed for the previous meeting. John,
Since I watched this thing on our YouTube, I watched the entire thing, I think I have a right to go ahead and vote on it where I would normally abstain. And I thank James for putting that out there for us. But my answer is yes.
okay. Marcus,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
and Terry.
Yes.
Motion carried.
That takes us to item number 11, approved claims.
It's an early meeting this month, so we did have our fair share of additions. I don't know if there's anything that really
I'll motion to approve
stands
claims.
out.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to know on items 72 and 75 that we had the padlock for the water hydrant listed twice.
Yeah, that's a
Is
good.
one of those not valid?
No, that's a good question. So we had, Terry and I actually went to Dollar General and bought a couple padlocks, and they were not of very good quality.
I did not
Okay.
approve of them.
So Amber had to replace them. They weren't gonna make it. So we're gonna reuse them for something else.
No, I understand, but it was just obvious they were only 3 items apart and
Yeah, it stood out a little bit.
we were just smart thrifty.
Yeah, they were just cheap.
All right. Any further discussion?
I got one, just for acknowledgement, I guess, I don't know. I know a lot of times in the past we talked about the recycling, hauling fees and stuff, which is item number 116. You'll see there's 6 cardboards and 3 miscellaneous. It is a very high count. You also notice that the cost is only slightly higher, but I want to make sure I point that out. I'm also happy with the glass recycling.
Yeah, it's being used pretty well, actually.
All right, can I get a motion to approve claims?
I got the motion second. You want me to, we're going to call roll on that?
Sure, go ahead.
Voting on the motion second to approve claims as presented. Marcus?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Takes us to item number 12, report from attorney.
We've had quite a little activity this month, anything from some inquiries about administrative subdivisions or subdivisions in the extraterritorial jurisdiction. I think we have ongoing communications about the development to the south. And then I don't know how many of you are aware of this. This kind of started several years ago, but when we, the notorious blue house at the park, the Yasha house that was built down there that we had to deal with, there is still a lot on the corner that there's a shed on the corner of 6th and G, maybe? That is up for tax sale certificate foreclosure. The company that was foreclosing kind of sat on it a long time, and this month they're filing a motion for a decree in foreclosure. So I've been dealing with them because we have a mowing lien against that property for like $1,200. So it will go to hearing on July 7th, and then probably about 4 to 5 weeks later, there'll be a public sale of that lot. Just mentioning that publicly, so anybody might want to watch the notices in the paper. Probably is going to be in the Voice, and there will be, I would guess, a sheriff's sale down in Plattsmouth on that lot. I've told Nick already, I don't know if that lot is buildable. It has the shed on it now, but I don't know if it's going to have a lot of marketability, except to the person that's adjacent. That's something that may come up, then I'll talk to Rick about it if somebody buys it. But there is that lot. I don't know if the city is, or the village is interested in it. It doesn't connect to the rest of the park. But there's a structure probably ought to be torn down or something in the future. So that is going on. It's finally coming to a close.
When was that action going to be?
Pardon?
When did you say when
it will be set after they do the decree of foreclosure.
Okay.
And I've asked them to notify me when they set the thing, so I will let you know when it goes. We probably won't know till mid-July.
Say we might be.
Probably
Village
be
might be
August when they set the
participating in
auction.
Community garden.
That'd be kind of short notice for the village to do anything.
Oh, it'll be sold in August. They have to publish notice for 4 weeks in the paper. So if they declare it the middle of July, we'll have a whole month.
So I could put it on an agenda.
We'll have a couple of meetings.
I remember a few years ago, we had an auction for a dog run at Village Park. And
Yeah.
that's better than a fast competitor.
It's pretty tiny. Go look at it. But anyway, there's that. Talked about the fire department issues, and I think we'll get a meeting together on that. Sent out the notices to our folks with the reasonable accommodation that we voted down in June, and gave them until, I think, the 13th of July or the 11th of July. I've got letters, let's see. 13th of July, if they don't have that taken care of, I'm going to take court action. And that's about it right now.
Have we ever found out anything more about that house on Eagle Drive?
Not yet.
The ladies
Oh.
in California?
Nick just sent me the amount that we're going to have. We're going to put together a foreclosure. We're trying to locate a person served. Our problem is, and I've got access now to a national database, so we're going to try to locate her. If we can't, if we file the suit, then I have to publish notice in the newspaper, and that's our problem. I really have to try to find her. So, yeah, I've got that on the agenda. I'll probably have that filed before August, so, yeah, I'm glad you asked me about that.
Any other questions for Maureen? All right, thank you, Maureen. Welcome. That takes us to item number 13. Report from clerk treasurer.
I just got a few things in my report. Lead and copper monitoring, we hit on that last month. We have a meeting with NDEE next week to clear up some questions that we have regarding sampling requirements. We've had long story short, we've had the same 10 sites for 12, 15 years. And now all of a sudden they don't meet requirements. So allegedly. So we're gonna meet with, somebody higher up to answer some questions on those. G Street Mill and Overlay Project, Pavers has agreed to move up the project completion to September 25th, which will meet our budget. I think Dan had a conversation with them and got something worked out, so appreciate that. Future street and water bond projects, the office is working on developing a list of answers to questions asked by the engineer. We're hoping to submit those by the end of the week. We'll see. And lastly, I have something on here about a UNL research study. We are also going to be participating in some discussion regarding the measurement of functionality in small water systems. That's on July 3rd this week. Terry and I are going to sit down with a couple of UNL. One's a professor and one's a graduate student, I believe. Answer some little questions that they have. Don't know all the particulars yet, but second page on my report, total income for the month of June was $136,601.55. And account balances is that third and final page, checking CD savings. Terry had some handouts and might have some additional things to mention maybe.
Yeah, I just handed out the March sales tax revenue from surrounding communities and Eagles, and take a look at it. The pool report indicates how much money's been taken in since it opened. And also, I had Nick pull up from a computer the cost of lifeguards at this point. Basically, we're halfway through the season. Depending on the date you shut down, it looks like it'll probably be the 8th or 9th of August, so we're halfway through the season.
That's interesting.
Then you, Luke, emailed some pictures of the new fire station concept, and I printed them off, and that's what you got for the fire station. The only other thing I'll mention, I didn't mention it when you were talking about it, but when you were talking about redoing the tennis court, you can all take a look for yourself. What would have to be done, in my opinion, is the entire concrete tore out, compaction check, because it is real low in there and you have a high water table, so compaction would need to be checked, and then all new concrete poured, and so you are talking $100,000 plus. I mean, that's probably even without surfacing. So that's, you can't just cover what you have, because the concrete obviously is broken up. So that's all I have.
Just out of curiosity, the lead service replacement stuff, have we made any progress with any of that?
It's been a while since anything new has been done. We need to get back on that. Hopefully when things maybe slow down this fall, we can kind of get the guys back in gear on that. We need to get a little more pushy, I guess, to get that data. We've been pretty lenient, but we do want to get 100% compliance. So.
When, did they have much of a deadline yet, or not really?
Not really. It's been very fluid. It changes all the time, it seems like. It's really hard to get straight answers out of those guys.
6 months ago, they said we had 2 years, so we've used up 6 months.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
It's kind of what I was thinking. I just don't want to get in a pickle at the last 6 months and then have, be stuck somewhere that ain't gonna happen. Unrealistic.
Then it depends if we absolutely have to identify the service line between the main and the house, because if we have to do that, that's a 2-year project and we've not even started on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna cost,
that's what I'm worried
cost
about.
a ton of money too. So I hope not.
Well, weren't they gonna kind of reimburse?
No.
That's your
I
answer.
have one thing. I'd like to see our tennis court locked for the 4th of July, so the kids don't go down there and block or launch fireworks off of it, fill up full of burn marks and everything. Don't think it's destructive. The rest of the board's okay with it. I would like to see that locked for the 4th of July.
How can you do that?
What's that?
How can you do that?
Put a padlock around the gate.
Chain or something.
Yeah.
We locked it. We locked it before.
Is that cheap padlock?
We have it.
Yeah,
as a lock.
we've done it in the past.
Yeah, I would just
it's
want
up
the
to you
rest of the
guys,
board to
though.
know that's
Totally up to you guys.
It should be done.
You wanna do it on the 3rd and the 4th, just the 4th, what are you looking for?
Well, the guys are, I would say at the end of the day, or sometime, they'll be here Thursday, so, and we'll be here on Friday, so
Are you gonna do it, or are you gonna have the guys do it?
just have the guys do it on the 3rd.
I would also like to make note that I've had several really good comments about Noah Wood, and that he is doing a very good job.
He does.
Would somebody be around to unlock it after the 4th?
Well, if they got a master key or whatever, the lock on it, I could unlock it on Saturday or Sunday or whatever.
I'd offer to do it, but I'm gonna be out of town for the weekend.
It'll probably be a master lock if we have one, or it'll be one of the,
So, it's-
we'll find
Dan,
one.
if you wanna,
If we have issues, just, let me know where the key's at, and I can take the chain off of it.
I'm down for locking it, as long as somebody is lined up. You wanna take it, unlock it then?
Yep,
Hey, Dan? Yeah.
yeah, we'll get it. Sounds good.
All right, anything else? Meeting adjourned at 7:51.